Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Neil, and today we're going to take a deep dive and compare this Los Angeles Kings Reebok Authentic jersey with this Los Angeles Kings Reebok Replica jersey. I am relatively new to the world of jersey collecting. I'm not an expert in any sense of the word, so I'm not here to educate you on all things hockey jerseys. There's still lots to learn for me, from my perspective as well, and that's actually why I did this video. I didn't do it because I'm really smart when it comes to jerseys. I did it to help me learn, actually, and then I thought the process of me learning could actually help others learn as well, even if I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. At least I can give you the best quality imagery likely on YouTube when comparing these jerseys. So I'm going to do a very deep dive into every aspect of this jersey and how it compares to this jersey. We're going to talk about the necks, the stitching, the striping, the materials, the patches, the logos, all that good stuff, close-ups of all of that side by side, and comparing both of these the best that I possibly can. Now, I learned a lot in the past 30 minutes because I went through these. I sat down, I put both of these in front of me, I dissected them, and then I wrote down all the differences, and now I'm about to film all those to show you guys. So just in the last 30 minutes of me going through that process, I learned an incredible amount about these two jerseys. And yeah, Reebok are old news, okay? We've got Adidas now. I'm wearing the Adidas version of the two jerseys I just showed you. But there's still such a jersey market for Reebok, because they had the licensing with the NHL for so long, and there are a lot of specialty jerseys like this one down here, the Stadium Series jersey from the San Jose Sharks. And man, people love Reebok jerseys. I like Reebok jerseys, and this is my first authentic jersey. I got this in a Cool Hockey mystery box, so that really is what led me to this video. So I'm going to do the best I can to break these down for you. And if you're new, I would love it if you could hit the subscribe button for videos like this, jersey unboxings, and just regular hockey content. I'd really appreciate if you could join the family here and hit the subscribe button down below. Okay, two things to note before I get into the close-ups and the actual differences between these two. Real quick, this is a medium and this is a small. So there might be some logo discrepancies in here as far as the differences. One might be smaller, one may be bigger in the detail. I'm not exactly sure. That's kind of where my expertise kind of fails. I don't know if there's any specific differences between small, medium, and Reebok when it comes to this specific logo. So I apologize if I'm incorrect there later in the video. Thing number two, which is the last thing I'll mention before we move on, is orientation. So when I say left arm, I don't mean left as you're looking at it, I mean left as you're wearing it. So my left arm here would be this arm. This is my left arm, this is my right arm. As you look at me, obviously that's opposite, but just remember that when I'm saying things in the future. All right, let's get going, let's do this. Okay, so I thought we'd start off with the neck area. So there are a couple of differences here, and honestly the biggest difference between the two jerseys, other than material, is likely the inside collar or the back of the neck itself. It is a completely different color. So the inside collar or the back of the neck design and color is different between the two. It is green or neon green, almost a neon yellow on the Authentic, and it's just a regular Reebok gray on the Replica. Another thing to note, that inside the collar on the back of the neck, just under that top Reebok line, there's actually a Reebok patch. That is on the Replica, that is not on the Authentic. From what I can tell, the NHL crest is the same on the front of the neck. However, the material that's behind it is different. On the Authentic, it's much more of a smooth nylon texture, where on the Replica, it's kind of like a cloth, or it's a little bit more abrasive and less smooth than on the Authentic. And probably the last thing to note here when it comes to the neck is where it was made. So these were actually both made in Indonesia. I realized from a couple of minutes of research that some of the Reebok Authentic jerseys from some of the years were actually made in Canada and not Indonesia. It just so happens that the specific one that I have was made in Indonesia. So both the Replica and Authentic jersey that I have in front of me are both made in Indonesia. Moving on to striping, this one actually surprised me quite a bit because it's not just a material difference, it's actually a texture difference and light interaction difference, I guess is one way you could say it. So on the cheaper version, the Replica, the gray is a very shiny material that really reflects the light, kind of like it does on the main logo. However, on the Authentic, It's a very matte gray. There's no light that reflects off it or shines off of it, and it's extremely smooth. Where on the replica, it's almost graded material or something. So you can feel the lines, you can feel the tracks in it. Where the authentic is very smooth and just a completely different material. You can tell that it's a little bit thicker and higher quality. So that really surprised me. It's not something you'd probably notice from far away, but when you look up, or even like not even close up, but just look at them in front of your face, you'll notice that there's a difference there. But I had no idea that there was an actual texture difference when it comes to the way light interacts with it between the two. So that was a big thing that I learned right away. On the bottom of the jersey, you'll see a white stripe just underneath the gray, which makes the last bit of material in the bottom of the jersey. So on the authentic, it's much more of an actual jersey material. It's meshy, it's breathable, whereas on the replica, it's kind of more like a sweater or a cloth. It's thicker, it doesn't breathe at all. It's a little bit stretchy. Like I said, the one on the authentic is more of a breathable jersey material. So big difference there, but not something you notice with your eyes. You almost have to touch it. So the elbow material actually mimics that quite identically. It's totally different. The one on the replica is a very cheap, almost cloth material, and the one on the authentic is a very meshy and breathable material. And lastly, as far as striping is concerned, or coloring, moving underneath the arm where it's white, on the replica jersey, it is a bit of a jersey material. There are perforations to allow airflow. However, it feels extremely, extremely cheap compared to the authentic, which uses actual like thicker jersey material. We're gonna get into some of the specific differences underneath the arm a little bit later, but I just wanted to note that they are different materials. All right, moving on to patches and logo is probably my favorite section of the entire thing. So the replica has a patch on the front of the jersey along the bottom left, and the authentic does not. And that is something actually that I was aware of before I even got this jersey, that logo or that patch was not there. So I can confirm that that is not hearsay. That is fact. It is not on the authentic. It is on the replica. And just to quickly note again, there is the patch on the inside of the back of the neck in the replica and not on the authentic. All right, so moving to the back of the jersey, if you look at the top, there's actually a Reebok logo on each of these jerseys, but they are different. The one on the replica is bigger and it actually feels like a decent patch, but the one on the authentic is smaller, but I would say it's about 20% thicker, and that is what she said. But they both feel good, but they both feel good, but the one on the authentic definitely feels better. It's just a little bit thicker. This is an awkward section, so I'm going to move on. All right, so moving on to the replica on the bottom left arm, you're going to see the word Reebok on that arm, but not on the right arm, only on the left arm. However, on the authentic, it's not on either arm. So this is something unique to the replica. That's not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. Definitely something to point out, though. It is on the arm, on the left arm, on the replica, and not at all on either arm on the authentic. And now moving on to basically the best part of the jersey, that's the logo on the front. Honestly, these are extremely similar. If you did not look up close, you'd probably never even notice a difference. And like I said at the beginning of the video, there may be a bit of a size difference between the small in the replica that I have and then the medium in the authentic that I have. However, just looking at them side by side, they generally look the same, other than one specific detail that I noticed, and that is the kind of gray border or stitching that kind of goes around the main logo or within the main logo. That is definitely a different material, or it's stitched better or thicker than on the authentic than the replica, and you'll be able to see this in the imagery that I show. But it is actually a substantial difference as far as quality in just that specific section. Everything else about the logo generally looks the same between the two. The logo on the replica is very, very comparable. I would say 95% comparable to the authentic logo. So if that's something you're worried about between the two, I wouldn't be worried about the actual logo itself. How it's put on the jersey is another story. And we'll move on to that next and talk about stitching. So let's touch on the logo itself. How is that stitched on, or how is it put on the jersey? So on the authentic, it is heat pressed and then it is stitched. However, on the replica, from what I can tell, it is not stitched at all, and it is just heat pressed. And I'm not sure if that is specific to the LA Kings. I do have other Reebok replicas that I could check, but just for the purpose of this video, It is not stitched whatsoever on the replica. It is just heat pressed, and it is heat pressed and stitched on the authentic. Definitely worth noting, because the authentic logo will last probably 30 years longer if you're wearing it regularly versus the replica one. That'll come off extremely easily just because it's heat pressed. I've actually had logos start to come off on Reebok replicas before just from being heat pressed. So something to note for sure. And another big difference between these two jerseys is the authentic actually does have a fight strap. We see this in Adidas. Reebok, it wasn't the same with the replicas. There were no fight straps at all. You have to get the authentic to get the fight strap on with Reebok. That is one of the biggest differences between these two jerseys. Now, these next two things are going to help with the longevity of the jersey. We're going to talk about elbows and under the armpits. So on the elbows, it's actually double stitched, or what looks to be double stitched on the authentic, but not on the replica. Now moving on to the armpits, it's actually double stitched, or what seems to be double stitched on the replica, but it's so bad. If you stretch it just a little bit, it almost looks like it's going to come apart. So that actually is quite concerning, where on the authentic, it is not double stitched in the middle underneath the arm there. It is just one solid piece of white, and it is stitched along the edges with the black. So I didn't know that, and that has me concerned a little bit for the replicas, because not that I wear them a lot, but still, if I decide to wear an old Reebok replica jersey out playing some pond hockey over a jacket or something when it's cold, there's probably a decent chance that I could rip the armpit there. So that definitely is concerning and definitely worth noting. So that's basically everything that wraps up the stitching. The only thing left to mention as far as these two jerseys go is really the material of the jersey itself. So it is much, much higher quality on the authentic. I don't have to even show you this. You can probably guess it. That's why it's authentic, because it uses a better material. It is much more heavier. I would say at least 20 to 25% more heavy than the replica version. Obviously, some of that weight may have to do with the different size. My replica is size small. My authentic is size medium. So some of the weight difference will be there, but I can just tell just from the material used, the quality is actually pretty substantial. It blows me away a little bit. I didn't realize that the difference was this significant between the two. So I learned a lot. I'm hoping that some of what I learned and have kind of put into this video helps someone else learn as well. Like I said, I am not an expert. I'm fairly new to the world of jersey collecting. I do have quite a few jerseys in my collection as far as what I thought I would ever have. It's over 110 now. Almost, I think it's approaching 120. I do have a video going through my entire collection from a couple of weeks ago if you want to check that out. It is changing every day, though, basically, as I sell jerseys and bring new jerseys in. But I learned a lot, and I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to spend a couple of minutes with me and to see this jersey up close. At the very least, even if you knew all of this stuff, maybe you got to see some high-quality imagery, some up-close detail shots of specific sections of jerseys that maybe you didn't have a chance to ever see before on YouTube. So if that's the case, please hit the like button. That really helps me out. Share this video, whether it's on Reddit or on Twitter, or to a friend who is maybe considering buying an authentic Reebok jersey, or just whatever. I really appreciate all the support. Leave your comments down below in the comment section. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the future video. Adios.